Hey, what's up guys? John the Pilot. I'm going to be making a video about the pros of the 2024 Grand Highlander. Yes, it's on a production halt until August sometime. Yes, it's for the A-pillar curtain airbag over here. And Toyota's working on the fix. They don't have one yet, and it's kind of undetermined at this point what's going to happen. So if you're looking to buy one of these, from my understanding, you can't buy one at a dealership. But if you're trying to buy one of these, I'm trying to help you make an informed decision. What I want to do is let everybody know that I am not a Toyota hater. There's my 2018 Toyota Tacoma. That is my third Toyota Tacoma. All right, I've had two second gens before that, a 2005 and 2006. My mother-in-law drives a 2018 Toyota Avalon. So we absolutely love Toyota. We're all about it. Hey, happy 4th of July to anybody that served. I just wanted to throw a shout out to you. So let's talk about some of the pros that the 2024 Grand Highlander has. The first pro that I'm going to talk about is that I'm sure my wife would agree. For a while, I was trying to get her to look at the 2024 Sienna. And to me, minivans are a little bit more functional. They have a little bit more space and they're a little bit more cost effective. However, they just don't hold their value as good. My wife did not want a minivan. Let me make that clear. She did not want a minivan. So if you're looking for a vehicle that has ample amounts of room, you have a big family like ours. I got a mother-in-law, I got two younger kids, and it's me and my wife, especially who go on road trips. The Grand Highlander has been more than efficient and sufficient for our needs. So that's something to consider. It's not a minivan. Or I guess that could be a con if you're into minivans. Another cool positive about it is that if you have owned previous generations of Grand Highlanders, you're going to notice that it didn't have the kick opening, which my wife finds extremely helpful. So that is another cool pro about what they've done, and they added this stuff. And I know some people are going to make comments, well, Lexus has had that forever. Well, yeah, Lexus is also at a different price point. And what I'm understanding is that the limited, this is what you see, this is the limited version of the 2024 Grand Highlander. This was not in the previous Highlander versions whatsoever. So I think it's a pretty cool add. The other thing I want to point out too, another great positive, your cargo space. As you can see, we do have the third row seat deployed. My son loves sitting back here. I know people give a lot of comments about that's not the safest spot for a child. However, it is what it is because we do have a baby seat. We got a mother-in-law, and we have to configure our car this way, especially when we go on long road trips. But I can tell you this, I'm going to post a video, or excuse me, this is a link to a video that we have done where my wife has packed this thing out in this specific fashion, and we've had plenty of room utilizing this area for all the cargo. So that's something cool to consider. Oh, since we're here talking about pros, I want to point out another thing that I thought was quite awesome, especially at night. You can see they added these LED strips on both sides of the hatch here. So at night, this is really lit up very well, and it helps especially when you're trying to get things packed in here. If you're leaving the grocery store later at night when the sun is down, you can actually see what you're doing. So those are some pretty cool pros that I thought. Oh, a little fun fact too. We've been running into issues with this. You can see that there's two buttons here. Well, this button right here, if you push this, what happens is it toggles on and off if you want the kick feature to be able to work. So if you're using this, just make sure you push this if you want the kick feature to continue to work. Every time my wife goes to the Target, you know, where they do the drive-up pickup orders, it looks like the Target personnel always push that, so we have to retoggle it back, and I think it's probably just going to be a learning curve for everybody with the new technology that's going on with those type of kick plate rear hatches. So, all right, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and lock up the Highlander. All right, one thing I want to point out too is that you can notice how it has a little indentation right here. That's so that you can use your hand with the keyless entry and just open up the door. What they added, especially which makes it really easy for people, is you can also do it in the other doors. There we go. I just opened it up because I have the key in my pocket, and now it's a pretty sweet keyless entry system. I don't know exactly how that technology works. All I know is my truck just does it on the driver door, and our previous Grand Highlander only did it on the door as well. So that's a pretty cool pro. Another cool feature too that I've noticed is my wife was talking about this. We didn't intend to get these running boards, but they were a really great help for my wife because she ended up having a cesarean section for our newborn son who's 3 months old. And obviously when the operation takes place, it really messes with the female's abdominal muscles. And she said this was actually a really good help getting her in and out of the car. So that was something that's pretty cool to consider. Another pro of the new Grand Highlander. Okay, as we venture inside, there's a lot of cool things I wanted to point out. The infotainment center for all Toyotas, it seems, that are coming in the new generations have these awesomely huge, I believe this is a gosh, I don't even know how wide. That's almost a, what, 14, 13-inch screen. So it's really, really convenient. It makes it very simple in order to navigate through what you're going to be doing. But besides all of that, one thing I love pointing out here is there are multiple ways to charge your wireless device, or excuse me, your devices. So right here, there's this, I think it's the IP or whatever, the wireless charging pad, which works great for my phone. And then also what you have is another wired charging port, depending on if your phone has that capability or not. Plus you have another one over here on the passenger side, which has been phenomenal. Now, that's not all. Each seat has access to every single one of its own wiring ports. So right here, this left rear passenger seat has one. There's another one on the right-hand side there. If you go back further into the third row, there's my son. You can see there's one right there above his little toy bin that he has. So you can see he's moved in. Really nice. He's got all his dinosaurs and Hot Wheels and all that cool stuff to keep him company. The other thing too is, who knows, maybe you're sitting in the back on a long journey, somebody else is driving. You do have access to a 100-watt AC 120 volt outlet. So that way you can also, I don't know, work on your laptop if you're trying to upload a YouTube video, who knows. The cool thing about the infotainment center and how this new technology works is, I think all Toyotas now have the option to be enabled Wi-Fi. The only issue with it is ours has got 15 days left on the subscription. And if you want to have your car work as a hotspot and it uses AT&T cell towers, you're going to have to pay a monthly subscription, which I believe is 25 bucks a month. So that's totally up to you. That's something to consider. But I guess it could be a pro, could be a con. All depends on what kind of functionality you need. Generally speaking, most people's phones have a hotspot. My phone has a hotspot on it. We haven't needed a hotspot from the vehicle per se. So I think to me, it's just kind of a little bit extra added cost, but the option is there. So that's a pro. Moving on from there, I want to talk about what's going on in the steering wheel here. I wish I had a little bit of video for this, but I'm really happy with how Toyota is investing in the safety of the car. And what I mean by that, it's actually giving a little bit easier ways to drive. It kind of reduces fatigue, especially when you're going down the highway or if you have a really long drive. I really appreciate using the new adaptive cruise control, and it'll actually, as long as you keep your hands on the wheel, it will do its best to maintain the center line. You just can't take your hands off the wheel or the car will stop beeping at you. Plus, the other thing is it's not 100% perfect of a technology. It does advertise that you can be in slow bumper-to-bumper traffic on the freeway and the car will manage your braking and it'll also manage your acceleration. And it'll also keep the car in the center of the lane that you're driving in, which really helps a lot, especially for those long, arduous drives when you're going through cities and it's right during rush hour, which kind of stinks. This helps kind of alleviate a little bit of that fatigue factor or the stress while you're driving, which helps out tremendously. I'm really happy about that. However, just make sure anytime a car, an airplane for that matter, you have to treat any of that stuff that's automated like it's a 16-year-old with its learner's permit. It's still trying to figure out what it needs to do, so you've got to be watching to make sure you're not going to get yourself into a hairy situation. So overall though, I definitely think the improvement on the technology is a pro. Okay. Another pro, which I love, is these new moonroofs. I mean, there is kind of a slight con, but I'm gonna go ahead and open it up here and you can see how it goes all the way back and it's got 2 panes of glass. Right? When you're sitting in the back, it really opens up the experience being a passenger. It really makes the car feel bigger and it does a lot of cool things. However, mind you, if you're in a really hot, humid environment like what we are, me and my family live in Florida. So right now it's the start of July. It's probably almost getting in the 90s, 100% humidity. It's extremely hot. And right now I've even got the AC blowing. I'll go ahead and close the door to make things a little bit more efficient. We got the AC blowing. So if the car is sitting out in the sun, you got to keep in mind that this is all glass. All right, there is only 1 pane. I wish I could feel the heat coming off the glass, and it does beat through. The actual screen that comes to block the sun itself, it's just a very thin layer, so there is no insulation. So what does that mean? It means, I hope everybody understands how glass is made. They take sand and they get it really hot and they get it to melt together, and then you get the product known as glass. So I don't know if you've ever been to a glass blowing class Well, me and my wife went, we made some starfish. It was a really cool bonding experience. The point is this, is that the furnaces are extremely hot and glass stays hot, very, very hot for a long time. So if you do elect to get the moonroof, just know that you are taking away some of the insulation value from your car. However, me personally, I think it's worth it because it adds more to a driving experience, especially at nighttime. So if we're on a long drive and you just want to, and you know, you're out in the middle of the country and there's nothing there, you can really see the stars if you're a passenger, and you can take a look up, and it just kind of adds overall ambiance to your driving experience. And I don't know if you could tell, for me, just with the light shining through, the car definitely feels bigger. That's for sure. Go ahead and close that up. Okay, another pro that I would love to point out is I personally have sat in this third row seat, and I was actually pretty impressed. And I spent about an hour back here. I was impressed with the room that we had. I'm gonna go ahead and put a link to a video here of my experience in the third row. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure Toyota did a really good job when they were planning out the space of this thing. So, you know, I am 5'10", I weigh 235 pounds on a good day, so take that in mind. You know, this is not a minivan, so it's not going to have the space that you would be used to as a minivan, or even like a full-size type van. I don't know, maybe an Excursion or anything like that. However, I did know with the moonroof being open and me sitting back there having access to a power cord, and also having my own AC vent right there, and plus a full window so I can look out, I could keep myself pretty well entertained and not feel claustrophobic per se. So, you know, I don't recommend anybody who feels claustrophobic sit in the third row of anything. You're probably not going to do too well. But I do have a video documenting that, so you can check it out. Another pro, which I think is actually pretty cool, is the availability. If you have the captain seat configuration like what we do, and I know a lot of people say, yeah, you're losing a seat and all that kinds of stuff, but for us, it works perfectly. This center console thing here is actually really cool because the way they designed it was, you can see there's already some kind of milk stains on it. We can take this thing completely out, and look, now we just have more space if we need to get in and out of here. And my son always, you know, he never ever wants to go the easy way, which is this way. But you take this seat and you just move it up. He never goes out this way. He always, imagine that, right? Boys wanting to climb. He always waits for the baby to get out, and then he climbs all the way around just to go out this door every time. I think he has like a FOMO of being like his brother. I'm not 100% sure, but those are the things that you want to consider, you know. And in a way, this is actually a pro because my son, God forbid anything happens, he's got another way to egress as opposed to a seat being here, and he's kind of stuck waiting for somebody to be able to push the seat forward. So there is a pro of having these captain's chairs. I didn't even think about that for egress, but that's something to consider. There's another little cool touch that they've done is here in this lighting package. You can't see it, but right here there's a light, and what this light does is it shines down on the ground and it says Grand Highlander. So it gives you a little bit of awareness when you're walking up to the car. Maybe you won't trip and have or fall into something, which is, you know, could be a safety hazard issue. It gives you a little bit more spatial awareness, which I thought cool. Plus it makes the car feel like it's a little bit more higher end, which I've seen a lot of BMWs, Mercedes, all those, you know, Rovers, all those more higher echelon cars kind of have that. So it's a nice little touch. Another thing I've been noticing, people on the forums. So these new moonroofs, apparently people have been having a lot of leaks and problems with them, or and they've been replaced, and then when they were replaced, they start making noise, especially when the motor's trying to move them. We have not had that problem, so I am paying attention to it, and if anything does happen, I'll go ahead and post something about that. Okay, one thing I did want to point out is that these mirrors will fold in. So all you got to do is push that button. Oh, I guess I got to turn the car on. Yeah, all right. Let me turn the car on. And the cool thing is, if you're trying to get in and out of a tight parking spot, you know, I know a lot of trucks have this. I know a lot of luxury brands already have this, but it's something that I've never ever had in any of my cars, especially Tacomas, and or before this, our 2018 Grand Highlander. It's been a really nice added touch, and it also is really cool when you're trying to go through a car wash. So you have to put both your windows down, reach out, and go ahead and swing your windows in. I have to do that on my 2018 And what I mean is this: you just push that button, and both of the mirrors fold in. So And it also has a feature where it'll do it automatically. So, I mean, that means when you probably turn off the car and you walk away from it, the mirrors will fold in, and that helps other people too. So like if you're at the grocery store and a lot of people are going in between the cars, it's nicer to get that out of the way so they don't knock your mirror, possibly cause damage to your car. Those are kind of cool things that I've noticed. So Toyota's adding into what's going on. I think that's cool. Another little additive I wanted to talk about is there's actually a little light in each one of the door handle areas here. There's one in there, and there's one there, and there's also one on the seat right behind me. Those are interesting because I've never seen them before except for in higher end vehicles. And I guess just in case if you place something here, you'll be able to see it. And or at night, you're going to be able to see where you can put your hand if you need, for a lack of better terms, like an oh shit handle or something like that. Your hand can naturally grasp that, and you should be able to see that through the little shadow of the light. So those are cool little features, and also probably safety additives that Toyota put on there. The other thing is too is, from my understanding, the JBL sound system in here has been a massive upgrade from previous generations of Toyota. The subwoofer is all the way in the back, and you have multiple speakers everywhere. You can see tweeter, kind of MIDI, tweeter. And there's one in the door right here. There's also another two back there, and then there's also one in the far back door hatch, plus the subwoofer on that side right there. So if you're into music, I don't know. Could it sound better? Probably always sound better. And I'm pretty sure there's people that would probably just take this whole thing and gut it and turn it into one big speaker and a subwoofer so they could blast everybody out while they're driving around, you know. But it's pretty cool for options that way. We haven't had a need to feel like we needed to upgrade a sound system or anything like that. We just leave it as is. So those are pretty cool. But anyway, this specific Grand Highlander, every light that you see in everything here, like that's a little LED. If you look in the video where I actually bought the car, I go over the addendums list. It was in the addendums from the dealer that we bought it. It looks like there's an LED light package installed. I'm not 100% sure if all Toyotas come installed that way. I think incandescent light bulbs have gone the way of the Dodo just because of their efficiency and their need to draw power. Plus, when, you know, the little filament burns, you know, it blows out. I don't know if LEDs last longer. I don't know. But my point is it gives you a little bit better visibility. Some people may not like the actual white, bright look that they give. Some people would actually appreciate it if it had that more amber or soft white tone. I don't know if there's an option for that, but those are pretty cool things that Toyota has been putting together. So anyways, those are some of the things that I've noticed. I haven't dove too deeply into the infotainment center yet. I want to get a better understanding of this thing. That way I can know and I can present a more detailed kind of overview of how this thing works, because my wife uses Android Auto, and you can see it says Android Auto error because her phone is not anywhere near the car right now with it turned on. So I use CarPlay, but the only issue that I've been having is if, like, I'm in my garage right there and my wife is trying to drive away, my phone will automatically override and it will hook up CarPlay for a second, and I'll be like, what the heck, how come I can't hear anybody or talk to anybody when I'm trying to make a phone call? So I've had to completely dump my phone off of this car. So that's something to consider. But now, pro of the infotainment / Toyota Link or whatever it is, the Toyota app, I can specifically use my phone as a key if I need to get into this car and drive away. So that when my wife goes out of town, she brings her car keys with her. She forgets the fact that she took the Grand Highlander key right now, because I only have one key fob. I guess the second key fob is in limbo somewhere. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there having the same issue. If you're having the same issue, please comment below and let me know if you've gotten a key fob. I've only got one. You're supposed to get two with every car. But moving forward from that, let's say she takes the key fob, I can now use my phone if I need to. I'm not sure if you have to pay a monthly subscription for that. I'll look more into detail about it. If you already know, put a comment down. It'll help everybody else out who's trying to figure that out as well. So those are the things to consider. That's about all I can think of. I do know that the storage here in the center is awesome. There's also a charging port deep down in there. I believe it gives you like that normal kind of cigarette lighter one. Yeah, there's a cigarette style right here. So if you still are smoking and you need to do that, or if you want to add a power outlet right here, you can do that. And you want to put a piece of electronic in here, kind of hide it from view, you can do that inside the center console thing here. This is another interesting thing too, is the cup holders in this thing are just astronomically awesome. I mean, you got a really big jug holder here, you got a cup holder here, you got a cup holder here, you got that thing that holds cups. There's also a cup holder down inside of each one of the doors. There's 2 cup holders on each side of the rear passengers there. I mean, so man, if you drink you some liquid, guess what? You could probably find a place to put it in a brand new Grand Highlander. So that's another thing to consider. Oh, that's what I want to point out. Toyota has gone leaps and bounds compared to the older technology that we were used to. To me, this all looks like it's in HD. And what I want to point out here is how, I want to say, it gives you a really good sense of awareness on how close you're getting. You see the yellow who's popping up on my truck there? I'm just doing a quick reverse. And I want to point out that it'll tell you when you're getting close. And it does a really, there we go. It does a really, really good job. I'm going to get it to where it shows like it's red. Okay. It hasn't gotten red yet. Oh, there it is. It has now gotten red. So I don't want to get any closer to that. But the cool thing that does, I'm going to go back into drive, move forward here. It gives you really good spatial awareness, especially when you're trying to get into tighter parking spots, especially when this Grand Highlander is a little bit bigger than the normal Highlander that's out and available right now. So here we go. And you can see it's already starting to pick up my garage door. And what I want to do is keep going and show how awesome it is. There we go. It's all red. We are super, super close. I am super, super close. That's as close as I really want to get. But you can see it even starts back up and it starts ring-dinging back at me and it's showing red on both sides right there. So I'm going to back up a little bit, give it some space so it stops barking at me. So I don't know if you guys go into car washes, and over here they have gate car washes. And when you're driving through, man, and those robot arms are, you know, spinning those things at you, and it's, I mean, this, the safety thing goes off like crazy. And I'm pretty sure all the people who are doing like overlanding in the brand new Toyotas, I watched it on TFL. These guys are trying to do Moab and they're trying to go up and down all this stuff. I'm sure that thing drives you nuts because it's picking up rocks and debris and it's probably honking and hoeing at everybody. So I don't know if there's a way to turn that off. If you don't want it, I'll dive into it. And if I find out any more information, I'll obviously make a video. Well, I guess that does it for everything that I know as of right now, the pros that we have experienced driving the 2024 Grand Highlander. I think the #1 pro that my wife still loves about it is it's not a minivan. So I hope this video was informative, a little bit educational for you. As of right now, to my understanding, all Grand Highlanders are ceased production until sometime in August. I don't know when that's going to change. But if you are looking for a Grand Highlander, I hope this video is helping you in your quest to see if it's the right fit for you and your family. If you like this video, throw some comments down below, ask some questions. I'll get around to them when I can. I really appreciate any subscriptions, all that good stuff. It really helps grow the channel. Thank you so much for your time. Happy 4th of July for everybody. I got tons of videos that I've made about the Grand Highlander, some pros, some cons, some positive, some negative, but I don't care. I'm all about making sure you have an informed decision. I am not sponsored by Toyota in any way, shape, or form. We actually own this vehicle, and we've gotten a loan that we are responsible for this vehicle, so it is absolutely 100% ours. We're not being given this thing, nothing like that. You're going to get honest to God, true thoughts from me. Until the next video, guys, John the Pilot. I'll see you.